Good morning. I'm David Adams from the Board of Trustees of the Monte Vista UU congregation. Before we begin our service, just a couple of items. Please take note of the week's coming events, which, well, I think they were going to be on the slide behind me, but they're not. They probably will show up. There they are. Also, after the service today, we're going to be packing up donations to be sent to our partner church in the Philippines, the Calapayan congregation, and we have some congregants, including Jim Craig and Julie Steinbach, who are here with us today, who are going to be taking those with them, as I understand it. So if you're interested in helping out with the packing of those things after the service, then please do so. And I'm told that there's going to be pizza. Okay. And of course, please join us for coffee and conversation after the service on the patio. And with that, we will begin with our minister, Reverend Maggie Yenoki.
Thank you, David, and welcome everybody. It's so good to see all of you here this morning. Usually, on the first weekend of the month, we have a little fun and we celebrate everyone who has a birthday that month. So we'll sing happy birthday to everyone who has a birthday in July. So do we have any July babies here? And welcome, welcome. Any on the 14th? Because that one's mine. I'm a July baby too, July 14th. So wonderful to connect with you. So let's all sing together. Happy birthday. And instead of the name, we'll just say July babies. Beautiful. And as is our tradition, we open our service with the ringing of the bowl. We sound the bowl 3 times. Once for those who came before, the Tongva and all native peoples who were the original stewards of this land and called it home long ago. We stand with our ancestors and with the founders of this congregation who imagined and formed it over 70 years ago. We ring it once for those of us here and now. For our members, friends, visitors, our staff, and our extended UU family, who all hold, care, and grow this beloved community that we know as our own. And we ring it once for those who will come. For all who will find belonging here with us and call this special place their spiritual home in the days ahead. Today's a special service for me as well, because next Sunday at this time, I'll be going through security at LAX, along with Julie and Jim Craig, as we head to visit our partnership congregation in the Philippines. So I'll be gone from here for 3 weeks. So I'll miss you all. And I hope that you will be at least peeking in on your social media, looking for connections from us as we make our way through the jungles and the cities of the Philippines, touching in with our people and digging in deep into the cross-cultural experience of being there with them. We look forward to it. We have an opening song for today. It's sometimes used in November around Thanksgiving, but I like it every day. I think this song is fitting. It's number 1010, We Give Thanks. So stand as you're comfortable and let's sing out. Beautiful. Please be seated. And I invite Julie Steinbach to come and light our chalice for today. Our time together in worship is intimately connected with our daily lives. And we light our chalice flame as a symbol of that connection, a symbol of our faith, our unfolding mission, and our shared light of hope and witness to one another and to the world. Thank you. As our flame is lit, please hear the words of Laura Thompson. Across all distance, the light from within us shines, sending love to all beings. Across all distance, our light is fuel that warms us and helps us to keep our own lights burning. Together, with no distance, we keep the flame of community burning bright for our world. Another tradition we have as a covenanting community is that each week we read our covenant and we speak it to each other, to ourselves, to the community here. So I invite you to stand and we will read our covenant, and when we finish, we will just go into Spirit of Life, which we will sing twice, once in English and then be followed in Spanish.
We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We pledge our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to find hope in times of fear, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as a beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life.
Please be seated. I'd like to invite our Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration up, Robert Tidwell, for our wisdom tale. The title of today's wisdom tale is The Changes That We Can Bring. It's a fun story. Hope you enjoy it.
Good morning, everybody. The Changes We Can Bring by Nate Hayes. I was taking a break at work the other day, resting outside to enjoy some time in nature, when a very stern and unhappy-looking woman stopped and watched me curiously before saying, "May I ask what you're doing?" She waited a moment and then said, "It looks like you're picking up rocks from the ground, looking at them closely, discarding some, and then keeping a few." I smiled and said, "Spot on. Do you ever pick up rocks you think are interesting and pretty?" She said, "Well, not lately. I did that as a kid." I motioned for her to join me by the rocky slope as I invited her. Why not give it a try? It's still just as fun as when you were little. She paused a moment and I went back to my activity. Soon she began picking up stones, looking at them, and then asking my opinion about the ones that she liked. Soon we were showing off the ones that we thought were pretty, agreeing on a few of the rocks that needed to try harder to be more interesting, and giving each other stones that we liked. After a time, her smile grew slightly as she stood up, brushing off her clothes. She turned toward me and said, "Well, have a good day." I said, "Thank you for playing with me for a little bit. This was fun." She looked a bit shocked and said in a voice full of wonder, "Yes, it was fun to play for a bit." I noticed that she sat in her car for a moment, holding up a pretty rock in her hand, gazing at it, and then she drove away smiling. And now you guys can sing me to our classroom. I think all of our kids might be at camp except for Donovan. Donovan and I will go to our classroom though.
Our General Assembly was held at the end of June, and 2 of the members of our congregation served us as delegates. One was online, and one attended in person. So we'll have a little bit of a different kind of a report on their reflections from General Assembly. Julie Steinbach and Laura Mulroy will be sharing with us today, and first we'll hear from Julie Steinbach.
Good morning. I'm Julie Steinbach. I'm a white cisgender woman in my 70s. I'm 5'4" with short gray hair. My pronouns are she and her. I'm wearing a light green Emma's Revolution t-shirt that says peace in Hebrew, Arabic, and English. I'm also wearing the name tag from General Assembly that we're all given, and with the purple delegate badge, ribbon. The other ribbons are collected in the exhibit hall for different programs. Some of the ribbons actually, the children, young people often have ribbons going all the way down to the floor, and I saw pictures of them being laid out and taken, showing all their ribbons. It's quite fun. What you just heard is my personal version of what each person reported when they came into the microphone, whether online or in person, at the convention center in Pittsburgh. It's a self-description for inclusive meetings. There were even guidelines provided on what to include. The intent is to more fully include visually challenged people. GA is the annual gathering of UUs, where the UUA gathers in community, this year drawing approximately 1,900 in person and another 600 some online from all 50 states, the District of Columbia, and 6 foreign countries, representing 715 congregations. General Assembly traditionally opens on Wednesday evening with the banner parade, with attendees bringing and marching with the banners, that banner, from their congregations. And we have a short video that Jaryus will show us of the banner parade from my perspective. Maybe? Maybe? Maybe not. There were some challenges with the phone being compatible with Zoom.
Listen, there's some weird stuff going on, so I'm trying to make sure everybody gets it, okay? I'm sorry.
Actually, that's reflective of the banner parade itself this year being very disorganized and not nearly as much fun as it has been in the past. How much time do you want, Jaryus, for us to wait? Okay, and it was accompanied by this brass.
A little bit of
a big church in New York City, right across the street from Central Park on Lexington Avenue. So that's the banner parade, and there's one more shot of your representative standing with the banner. So we were there. In addition to celebration, community, and relationship building, the purpose of General Assembly is to conduct the business of the association, including exploring the theological underpinnings of the UU faith and examining the association's missions, values, and principles. This year, that discussion focused on Article 2 in the UUA bylaws. The mandated periodic revision generated a proposed revision that changes the language from an explicit commitment to our 7 principles as we know them to embracing a set of 8 values arranged in a diagram around the central concept of love. The vote before the Assembly this year was whether or not to study the proposed revision, essentially to continue the conversation for another year, before a vote to adopt at GA next year, 2024. The design, content, and mood of almost all elements of this GA were heavily skewed towards change, to move forward with programs and processes to address the historic and contemporary inequalities perpetuated by this still predominantly white UUA. As we've discussed here in the adult RE sessions that Laura Mulroy conducted this spring, one objection to the values statement was the wording being too flat, one way to put it. Turns out this is actually an example of the UUA's expanding attention to diversity, which I learned in a hallway walking conversation with, interestingly enough, Susan Frederick Gray, our UUA outgoing president. When I protested the wording as not very memorable or poetic, she educated me that the conscious choice was to use only what's now being called plain language, language that's easily understood by the neurodiverse and average level education. I hadn't known about this identified strategy. Regarding our beloved 7 principles, of the amendments submitted to keep them, only one amendment made it to the agenda, was protested because of the inclusion of the word historically, and was ultimately rejected in about a 2/3 majority. A good number of you have attended GAs over the years. You will recall the cumbersome discussion process of pro and con microphones, timed to 90 seconds or 2 minutes. This year, with a multi-platform format, it was even more tightly controlled and harder to challenge the issues. Regardless, the vote to continue the conversation was passed, 86.3%. The final vote on the proposed changes will be next year at GA 2024, which will be on an all-virtual platform. Meanwhile, regarding specifically the issue of keeping the principles, I am heartened by conversations and readings, particularly since GA, essentially boiling down to, if the principles are not kept in the UUA bylaws, that's actually only the bylaws. The principles can still be my principles, your principles, our principles. We are our own congregation. We still make our own decisions and commitments. And we were reminded of our work together with the larger Association of Congregations by our favorite UU activist troubadours, Emma's Revolution, who provided a concert one evening, and also from the convention stage, their beloved classic, Swimming to the Other Side, which we are going to hear from them from the convention stage, and then we'll sing together. So Jaryus, our next video challenge here. Emma's Revolution consists of 2 women, Sandy O and Pat Humphreys, who've been singing at Unitarian conventions for years and are much beloved. I don't actually know where they're from. Here we go. We'll all live together. We're all swimming to the other side. And now, Jaryus has a YouTube clip of this for us to, with the lyrics. So I'm inviting you to stand and join along in singing, reminding ourselves that we are all loving spirits. We'll live together as we're all swimming to the other side.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. And I invite you to welcome our online delegate, Laura Mulroy.
Good morning. I am a 66-year-old cisgendered white woman. I have shoulder-length gray-brown hair, blue eyes, and I'm wearing a cream and blue flowered blouse. I use she and her pronouns. This is the 6th time I've attended General Assembly, the 5th time I've served as one of your delegates, and the 4th time I've done so sitting at home. I always enjoy GA. I attend a variety of worship services. I get a chance to hear some great speakers. I go to as many workshops as I can to try to bring back ideas. I feel a part of a greater community, which is always a great reminder. And particularly as an online delegate, I tend to focus on participating in the governance of our association. This year, there were 2 particularly significant items on the business agenda. The first was a resolution developed by a group of young adults that called for the UUA to first fully divest from fossil fuels, not just from fossil fuel companies, but also from the banks and financial institutions that support them and fund them. And second, to distribute those divested funds as reparations. This was a bold resolution supported passionately by its proponents. Our young adults wanted the rest of us, mostly old adults, to support them in fighting the climate crisis and historic injustice. I felt that all of us at GA should have given a lot of attention to this proposal, taken the opportunity to learn more, ask questions, and discuss amendments. I think we should have listened to and lifted up the voices of our young adults. Instead, the proposal was opposed by the Board of Trustees in writing and verbally. Only a very short discussion time, I think it was 35 minutes, was scheduled. And at times in this GA, I observed disrespect for the young adults and their work. Unsurprisingly, the resolution failed, although it did receive over 30% approval. The way the divestment and reparations resolution was handled left me feeling discouraged and disappointed by the business sessions. After GA ended, I expressed my frustration in a survey sent to all participants. I was apparently not alone in my disappointment. 2 days ago, I was very glad to see that the Board of Trustees published a statement pledging greater engagement and action on climate justice. Our outgoing and incoming presidents published a letter expressing apology to the young adults and their commitment to act on climate justice and reparations. Of our young adults, our president said, "Our young leaders bring a particular passion, creative thinking, and a sense of urgency that is vital to us as a faith community. We must find ways to honor and invite their leadership that allows us to continue in covenantal relationship through challenging conversations." May it be so. Instead of considering this divestment and reparations resolution at length, we spent many hours discussing proposed amendments to the proposed rewrite of Article 2. As Julie said, that's the section of our bylaws that lists our current 7 principles and the 6 sources of our beliefs. We did vote to continue the discussion with a final vote next year, and we did incorporate 5 amendments that I believe strengthen the proposed rewrite, particularly in the definition of our value of interdependence and the description of our shared inspirations. And I felt like the process worked with this because there were many, many amendments proposed. We had a chance to only discuss 11 of them, but they represented a lot of important ideas and good work. And I want to close by sharing the new proposed inspirations section. This is proposed to replace the list of 6 sources, and it's a paragraph, but what was proposed and passed was a rewrite that expanded the inspirations, and it was the work of multiple ministers. They said they worked with many congregants, and they made a point of reaching out to different groups of UUs, from Christians to pagans. So I'd like to share the proposed words, which we will vote on next year unless they get amended again, of course. As Unitarian Universalists, we proclaim that direct experiences of transcending mystery and wonder are a primary source of inspiration. These experiences open our hearts, renew our spirits, and transform our lives. We draw upon and are inspired by sacred, secular, and scientific understandings that help us make meaning and live into our values. We respect the histories, contexts, and cultures in which these understandings were created and are currently practiced. These sources ground us and sustain us in ordinary, difficult, and joyous times. Grateful for the experiences that move us, aware of the religious ancestries we inherit, and enlivened by the diversity which enriches our faith, we are called to ever deepen and expand our wisdom.
Thank you so much, Laura and Julie both. Beautiful, beautiful. Several years ago, it was our tradition to split the offerings 50-50 with a pre-selected nonprofit that shared our values and was doing good work in the world. Our Board of Trustees has supported the Justice Committee's passion to revisit that tradition and energize our engagement with those who are making a difference in the world. Our undesignated offerings taken up each Sunday or mailed into the office will be shared with a different, pre-chosen organization every Sunday each month. For July, we will share our plate with Citizens Climate Lobby. I have some notes from Meg's presentation last week. She says, Citizens Climate Lobby, or CCL, the organization that our Justice Committee has selected to receive this month's Share the Plate offering, is a grassroots organization founded in 2007. It currently has 450 chapters, 800,000 members in the US, Canada, and several other countries. Our local chapter, Inland Valley, CCL, was established in 2014 right here in Monte Vista's sanctuary. That's wonderful. With Ann Schranz, who was the minister at that time, as the leader. The name Citizens Climate Lobby describes the main purpose of the group. And we are citizens who join together and are trained to become lobbyists to push for federal action dealing with climate change. The CCL has a tax-exempt arm known as CCE, which is Citizens Climate Education. So if you are writing a check to them and you want to have that check reflect that, you would put in the memo for CCE, even though it's Citizens Climate Lobby. And I'll check all your checks in the memo, and if you're bringing cash, I invite you to put your donation into an envelope if you wish to designate it for your all to your pledge or all to CCE or something specific that you want your offering to go to. But whatever your gift, and please only as you're able, it is meaningful and significant to bring a contribution and to place it into our basket as a ritual and a reminder of that form of love that we name as generosity. So as we listen to Lily's beautiful offertory, I invite those in the sanctuary to bring your gifts for the congregation, for Citizens Climate Lobby, and along with any non-perishable gifts that you have for the Beta Center at Inland Valley Hope Partners. It is with deep gratitude for the many gifts of our community that we participate in this ritual of our free church, supported by the voluntary generosity of all who join with us. Our offerings will now be given and received in grateful appreciation for our shared hopes and values. Sharing our joys and sorrows is something that we do daily, sometimes hourly, it seems, when we get together and we talk about the things that are weighing us down and also lifting us up. It is our tradition to make this a part of our service. And we do have these yellow papers that are available for anyone who would like to share something. But now let's have a time. Oh, no, wait, I got two more. David, I hope this is okay. I put this in my notes that I would share this news, but you didn't mention it. We did hear from the Spirit Level Grant people this week, and our application for the grant, Spirit Level Grant that we applied for so that we can fix our roof was approved this week. Yay! So we will have to do a lot of fundraising to meet our match. But we have until December of 2024, so a year and a half, in order to raise our half of it. But then we get $25,000 from them because as a blessing and a reward for our own fundraising and in support of our efforts to remain a healthy, sustainable congregation. So we'll be getting a new roof, but we got some work to do first. But that is good news. I invite you to join me in time of prayer and meditation. Let's get comfortable, put our feet on the floor, and let's just turn our attention to our breath. Not to change it in any way or to sync it with everybody else sitting here with us, but just simply to notice our breath. We notice the ways that we are, without our intervention, being breathed. And we turn our attention to our hands as they lay in our lap. I invite you to feel the tingle of the life force energies that are flowing through our palms. First, we focus on the left hand, and then the right. We let go, and here in the safe refuge of this home, we turn our busy minds towards silence for a moment as we open our full hearts toward one another. In our slow walk upon the earth, we have been and we will be both wounded and showered with grace that is amazing and unending. And even in our sorrows, we feel that our lives are cradled in a holiness that we cannot completely understand. But there is a love holding us. And though we walk within our vast and individuated experiences, the promise we offer here in this, our community, is that we do not walk alone. For this is a holy place in which we gather. The light of Father, Son, brought in and held, touched them by our answering light, the flame on our chalice, the gleam in the eye of a friend, the lamps of our open hearts brought near. In this place of both silence and celebration, hard things and safe shelter, solemnity and music, stillness and dancing. Here we find our belonging. Here we make a sanctuary. And here we name our community home. I invite you to reach for your teal hymnal if you selected one and it's laying next to you. We'll sing now together from seated position, relaxed position. Let's sing number 1053, How Could Anyone? Our reading from today comes from a bit of our own sacred scripture, a book by Joanna Macy. It's called The Bestiary, and it comes from Coming Back to Life. And I'm doing a test with my invisible helper.
Can you hear me?
There, yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. You may begin.
Short-tailed albatross, whooping crane, gray wolf, peregrine falcon, hawksbill turtle, jaguar, rhinoceros.
In Geneva, the international tally of endangered species kept up to date in loose-leaf volumes is becoming too heavy to lift. Where do we now record the passing of life? What funerals or farewells are appropriate?
Reed warbler, swallowtail butterfly, Manx shearwater, Indian python, howler monkey, sperm whale, blue whale.
Dive me deep, brother whale, in this time we have left. Deep in our mother ocean where once I swam, gilled, and finned. The salt from those early seas still runs in my tears. Tears are too meager now. Give me a song for a sadness too vast for my heart, for a rage too wild for my throat.
Anteater, antelope, grizzly bear, brown bear, Bactrian camel, Nile crocodile, American alligator.
Ooze me, alligator, in the mud whence I came. Belly me slow in the rich primordial soup. Cradle of our molecules. But let me wallow again before we drain your swamp, before we pave it over and blast it to ash.
Graybat, ocelot, marsh mouse, blue pike, a red kangaroo, a Ludian goose, Audouin seagull.
Quick, lift off. Sweep me high over the coast and out, farther out. Don't land here. There's oil spills that coat the beach, the rocks, and the sea. I cannot even spread my wings glued with tar. Fly me from what we have done. Fly me afar.
Golden parakeet, African ostrich, Florida panther, Galapagos penguin, imperial pheasant, leopard, Utah prairie dog.
Hide me in a hedgerow, badger. Oh, can't you find one? Dig me a tunnel through leaf mold and roots under the trees that once defined our fields. My heart is bulldozed and plowed over. Burrow me a labyrinth, deeper than longing.
Thick-billed parrot, zone-tailed pigeon, desert bandicoot, southern bald eagle, California condor, the Orris blue butterfly.
Crawl me out of here, caterpillar, and spin me a cocoon. Wind me to sleep in a shroud of silk where in patience my bones will dissolve. I'll wait as long as all creation, if only it will come again, and I take wing.
Atlantic ridley turtle, pearly mussel, helmeted hornbill, sea otter, humpback whale, monk seal, harp seal.
Swim me out beyond the ice floes, Mama. Where are you? Boots squeeze my ribs, clubs drum my fur, and white world goes black with the taste of my blood.
Gorilla, gibbon, sand gazelle, swamp deer, musk deer, cheetah, chinchilla, Asian elephant, African elephant.
Sway me more slowly through the jungle. There still must be jungle somewhere. My heart drips with green secrets. Hose me down by the water hole. There is buckshot in my hide. Tell me old stories while you can remember.
Fan-tailed flycatcher, flap-shell tortoise, crested ibis, hook-billed kite, bobcat, frigate bird.
In the time when this world like ours was ending, Noah had a list of the animals too. We picture him standing by the gangplank, calling their names and checking them off on his scroll. But now we are also checking them off.
Ivory-billed woodpecker, brown pelican, Florida manatee, Canada goose.
We reenact Noah's ancient drama, but in reverse, like a film running backwards and the animals exiting.
Ferret, curlew, cougar, wolf.
Your tracks are grown fainter. Wait, wait. This is a hard time. Don't leave us alone in a world that we have wrecked. Today's reading from Joanna Macy, and that beautiful piece from Lily expresses the cries of Mother Earth and her endangered creatures, giving a voice to the voiceless. We speak the names of those most at risk, and by giving our attention to their plight, we offer our intention, woven with our prayer, and we share the communal heartache that we feel as we sense the anticipatory grief that the climate crisis gives to us all. It helps us if we're brave enough to see it, to name it, and to acknowledge it, and to share it here together. And yes, we are bravely and consciously amping up the very real eco-anxiety that Meg named for us last week. It's pretty impossible not to, as we become more engaged and more woke to the reality of Earth's many crises. And we pause with a moment to honor the personal experiences of disappointment and suffering that hop aboard and pirate that smooth sailing ship that we prefer to be the captains of in our private lives. And we come together today to feel a bit better and to find a smidgen of relief and to strengthen each other and share our sense of being held, and to know that we are among the fortunate ones here in this time and space. It is because of our communal strength that we are better able to maneuver through life's rough seas. We are here to amp up our sense of being safe and sound in the face of any and all uncertainty, because we are all here 100% safe, sound, and uncertain. We see our acceptance of uncertainty as a blessing, a deep curiosity that is ever calling out for a better way, an allowing of what we have yet to learn. And our centering thought for today also has good imagery for our lives of late. They come from my birthday sister, Pema Chodron, who was also born July 14th. She wrote, "To be fully alive and fully human and completely awake is to be continually thrown out of the nest." And we are fortunate to have this nest to fledge from and come back to. This church, this congregation, this home is our nest. A sanctuary, a bird sanctuary, where we are refilled with a fresh sense of being safe and sound in a world where soundness is growing dim, and safety often needs redefining. But our calling here does not end with our arrival. Our lives and our faith are not content if we simply hunker in here, clinging to a false sense of safety with white-knuckled hope. We are here to be empowered and to hatch and to fly and to soar, bringing that sense of safety and soundness out into that uncertainty that so many people are lost in right now. Happybirding.com is a website that's filled with good metaphors from our bird relatives for this. And it shows us how nests play a crucial role in the life cycle of birds, providing a safe and nurturing environment for hatching and developing. And it's so interesting how birds invest time and effort into building their perfect nest to ensure their offspring have the best chance of survival in the harsh world. And perhaps like me, you are one who relates also with those who spend their lives sticking close to their home, close to the nest. The goose, the heron, owl, mallard, they all return to the nest. And our MVUUC community is a good nest to return to. We work very hard to maintain a safe, sound nest, to center ourselves for the best way forward in this very uncertain world. New York Times best-selling author and TEDx speaker Joe McClinsky's article on how to thrive in times of change and uncertainty offers us some helpful takeaways to build our flexibility and keep a soft heart in a hard world. He began his article with a quote by American philosopher Eric Hoffer, who says, "In times of rapid change, it is the learners who will inherit the earth, while the learned find themselves beautifully equipped to deal with a world that no longer exists." So we embrace our trait as those who are ever learning and inherit our broken earth that needs us more than ever, building a nest here for everyone who seeks a new sense of being safe and sound. Our capacity to be safe and sound in the midst of so much uncertainty will serve us well as our days become more and more bewildering. McClinsky's article gives us 6 skill sets that we do well to strengthen in our ever-changing and uncertain world. The first is to expand your circle of influence. So we need to do that. We need to be thinking of ways that we can expand who we are rather than contract. What are some of the ways that our Montclair community can come to know us better? It's so tempting to curl inward and self-soothe when we feel uncertain. We can easily find ourselves standing inactive with a deer in the headlights look. When the things that we've always been certain of begin to lose their value, or they become replaced by a totally new way of thinking. But it's important for all of us to keep our focus on ways that we can make an impact that is truly helpful in ways that others might not have ever thought of. To find ways to be of real help with things that others might not have seen as a need. As we begin to move forward with our shift toward a teams model, we can keep the theme of bigger picture thinking that can push back against every challenge that will come by framing hardship as an opportunity. The second suggestion is to question your mind. This skill is helpful to overcome our tendency toward negativity and to open up new perspectives that we might not have considered. I smile at the popular phrase, "Don't believe everything you think." It's pretty safe to say that everything we've ever learned needs to be re-examined for cracks and viruses and upgraded to Earth 2.023. It's so common for us to say, "We've always done this." But please, let's catch ourselves and catch one another and instead be curious about ways that we could rephrase that paradigm to one that opens a conversation about what is working well, and look hard as we consider together what's no longer working. Number 3 was to find leverage, a rail to hold. Times of extreme uncertainty can bring total collapse, but these times can also be the best environment for evolving and growing. We can run away screaming or dive in the deep end, head first. Maybe our sea legs come back to us somewhere in between those two. We do know that we can find the leverage we need in community, in helping each other see options and opportunity. One exercise suggested in the article is to listen for shifts in vision within the ways each of us would finish this sentence. This is the very best thing that could happen right now because I really like this idea, and I'll try adding it to my resources when I have trouble finding my own safe and soundness in the midst of uncertainty. Number 4 was raise your energy. We can only see new opportunity as the pathway when our energy is high enough for that. When we're in a slump and things feel heavy, it's nearly impossible to embrace change or uncertainty with any kind of welcome. It's important to raise our energy every day. So go running, ride your bike, walk fast enough to raise your heartbeat, and do anything that gets you out of breath. When you raise your metabolic rate, you'll be better equipped to face our quickly changing reality and less occupied with overthinking. Raising our energy and increasing your situational awareness will help us to be able to spot all those diamonds in the mud. Number 5 was double down on each other or dig in and deepen the quality of your relationships. Before the pandemic, many of us were centered and focused on the routines that we fell into in life, getting things done, making money, meeting deadlines. But with all that we've been through and all that we have lost during the time that we were separated, we have learned to value relationships. But now is our chance to keep focused on the quality of all of our relationships and resist falling into old ways of relating. Let's get in the habit of diving deeper and infusing all of our friendships with the energies of gratitude, promised change created by COVID. Let's be certain that all of our friends and loved ones know that we appreciate them and we appreciate being together and that we care deeply about their well-being, maybe more than you ever have before. And then number 6, and as your minister, I feel like this should be number 1, open to the infinite. Every now and then, we all pepper or season our daily routines with moments in time when we schedule, or by way of the soul's liminal pursuits, take time for spiritual practice. Time to step out of your minds, if you will, and into our vast, open souls, the deep place, the thin space that the Irish speak of, that room within all of us. That is where we are most safe and sound and comfortable with uncertainty. Joe Malinsky writes, "When you truly transcend your habitual thinking, even for a moment, you can have a small taste of what the Buddha discovered 2,500 years ago under the Bodhi tree, that your real nature is infinite and free." He nudges us with the closing words of his article, "In times of rapid change and uncertainty, there is nothing that will serve you better than regularly shifting the center of your attention out of the mind and into your own mysterious presence." May we all care for and share the best of ourselves in the week ahead. And may we make it more intentional to invite those that we share life with into our nest here. It is a safe and sound place, a place of growth where uncertainty is a curious and comfortable companion. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be. I invite you to sing our sending song. It's one that has a very familiar tune. We have changed up the lyrics a little bit. You won't find it in the hymnal, but it's probably in your memory banks somewhere. We used to sing, "Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me." I'd like to form a circle around the room as we sing this song together. The lyrics will be on the screen. It's not in there. No, I have the music though. That was great. Thank you so much. Let's, Julia, if you would come up and extinguish the chalice, we will share our benediction. Jaryus, if you could give us the words. I don't think anybody took their order of service with them when they went in the circle. Or I'll just speak it. We leave this gathered community, but not the connection or our sense of belonging. Our hearts carry outgoing concern for each other, for our faith, and for the world. So until we are together again, friends, be strong, be loved, be true, be well, and be kind. Let's continue the conversation on the patio over some refreshments after we enjoy the postlude from Lily.